So today we are making piroshki with chicken and caramelized onions. You're going to need to caramelize a bunch of onions. I probably have between 8 and 10 cups of diced onions cooking here. Don't worry so much about exact measurements. You never really know how much chicken you're going to get. You know, chickens vary in size and onions vary in size. And it's no big deal if you have a little too much onion or not enough onion. You know, the key is to have fun, and with time and experience, you'll learn how much of what to add. Now, with caramelizing onions, you want to do it over a pretty low flame. It'll take a while, so be patient, but it's much better than doing it over a high flame, because then you'll get, you know, uneven cooking and possible burnt onions, which can ruin your dish. So this is the dough that I use. It's puff pastry that's pre-cut into little squares. If you can't find this, you can use a puff pastry sheet, or you can make your own puff pastry. If you don't want to cut it up into squares, you could roll up the piroshki into a log and then bake it and then cut it up into individual portions. Now I'm going to take some cooked chicken. I have the meat from about 2 chickens that I picked off the bones from a chicken soup that I made, and I'm going to grind it up in a good old-fashioned grinder. If you don't have a grinder, you can certainly use a food processor. You're just going to want to use some chicken stock with it when you're processing it to moisten the chicken. I'm going to add some chicken stock when I'm done grinding anyway, so it's not going to affect the recipe. So this is the chicken ground up. I sprinkled it liberally with black pepper. I didn't add any extra salt because I cooked this chicken in the stock, so it's already seasoned. You can certainly taste it at this point, and if you want to add more salt, feel free to do so. Now I'm going to grind up the caramelized onions, and I'm also going to add a little bit of chicken stock to moisten it. This is what the onions look like when they're done caramelizing. You don't want them to get much darker than this, because then they'll have a burnt flavor. They can get bitter. So now I'm going to take these onions and grind them up. So this is the chicken mixed with the caramelized onions and the pepper and the chicken stock. Now I added about a 1/4 cup of chicken stock, but it really depends on how moist your chicken is. But you kind of want to get a consistency like this. I really don't know how to describe it. You want to be able to kind of form it into a ball, I guess. When you're adding the chicken stock, make sure that the chicken stock is warm. And don't overdo it on the stock, because you don't want the chicken to be too soggy, because you don't want it to run out of the dough and make the dough soggy. You need it. So you warm it up in your hands a little so it's a little more pliable. And then you take some of this meat filling and you try to shape it into a triangle. Don't overdo it, because you want to be able to seal it shut. You fold it over. And you pinch the edges nice and tight and get a good seal on there. Try not to get the chicken in there like that. And then you're going to use a fork to seal the edges. And you do the other side. And then you do about a million more. I have the piroshki on a silicone liner on a cookie sheet. Alternatively, you could use parchment paper. I'm going to brush them with some egg wash, which is basically just a beaten egg. I'm going to brush the tops all over, and then I'm going to bake it at 380 degrees for 25 minutes. I'll check on them at the 20-minute mark to make sure that they're not burning. If you use a different puff pastry, then you want to check the directions on the package, because different puff pastries may bake at different temperatures and for different amounts of time. So here is our finished product. I just wanted to let you know that piroshki can be made with different types of dough. You can use a yeast-based dough, and maybe someday I'll show you how to do that. And they can be filled with many different fillings. They can be sweet or savory. This is just one version, a version that my son adores. I hope you enjoy.